Welcome to Module 2. This is Emerging Technologies for Innovative Environments. Today, we'll explore how teachers can design meaningful, engaging learning experiences using emerging technologies like AI and gamification. Our goal is to connect these tools to the ways students learn best. So, let's dig in. Your objectives here today. Understand how AI can support learner-centered instructional design, explore tools and strategies for interactive and gamified learning, and design a sample learning experience using emerging technology. You'll have a better understanding of how to integrate AI in ways that resonate with Gen Z and Gen Alpha that we talked about last week. You'll also experiment with gamification and interactivity to keep learners engaged and motivated. So, why it matters. Students today are digital natives. We talked about that, who expect fast, personalized, and meaningful learning. When we embrace emerging tech, we're not just using flashy tools, we're creating environments that match how students actually learn. Remember last week when we talked about meeting them where they are? This is what we're doing. We have to meet them where they are. So we're creating these environments that match how they actually learn. So, what is AI in education? I'm sure you've heard. These are just a few. AI in education includes tools that adjust content to students' needs, provide instant feedback, and support learning through automation. Think of tools like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Grammarly, or Khan Academy's AI tutor. These aren't replacements for teachers, but supports that can enhance learning. If you have not played around with these tools, you need to because they can make your life so much easier. And that's what we want. We want them to be a help. We want them to me, they're like having an assistant in the classroom with you, someone that can help you with students. So we're going to learn about how to effectively use these tools. Generative AI in education is new, it's emerging, it's really important. AI can really open up new possibilities for students. It can personalize learning by adjusting materials based on each student's strengths and needs, so no one's left behind. It also fuels creativity, letting students use AI to write stories, compose music, or even generate art. When students need help, AI can act as a tutor, offering extra explanations, answering questions, and giving feedback right when they need it, which is the most important. Also, using practical applications to the classroom, right? So AI can be a powerful assistant for both teachers and students when it comes to content creation. It can help generate writing prompts, quizzes, even lesson plans in seconds. How many times do you sit and try to create something really good for your students and it takes you hours because you want it to be perfect? AI can help you generate that in seconds. And I always say don't copy paste, but what a great way to get started. It can help you, especially when you're tired, you've been working all day, and now you're trying to create something for next week. And you're just, you don't have the energy. AI helps give you that boost to get you started. For language learners, AI tools can simulate conversations, offer translations, and correct grammar in real time, which is what they need. It can also create visuals like infographics or diagrams to help students better understand complex ideas. Perhaps most exciting for engagement, students can use AI to build interactive stories or even design simple games to demonstrate their learning. These are tools that we need to use. These are the tools that students are using, and we need to get on board. What are the benefits? I've already kind of talked a little bit about it. There are some clear benefits when we integrate AI and interactive tools into our teaching. First, engagement. These technologies boost student interest by making learning more interactive and creative. Then there's efficiency. AI can handle repetitive tasks like grading quizzes or generating materials, giving teachers more time to focus on instruction. It also promotes inclusivity by supporting different learning styles and providing personalized support. Finally, it drives innovation, encouraging students to think creatively and solve problems in new ways. As powerful as AI is, we have to be thoughtful about how we use it. We have to be careful. First, there's bias. AI tools are trained on human created data, which means they can reflect the same biases found in society. For example, if you ask an AI to generate an image of a scientist and it mostly shows white men, that could unintentionally reinforce stereotypes. That's why human judgment is still essential to make sure we're being inclusive and fair. We also have to think about privacy. Many tools collect data, so we need to protect our students' information. Another issue is dependence. AI shouldn't replace good teaching. It's a tool to support, not substitute what we do. And finally, there's training. Teachers need to feel confident and prepared to use these tools responsibly and effectively in the classroom. You can't just expect teachers to know how to use it. They need professional development. They need to learn. And if you are doing it on your own, you need to play around with it and learn it. So here are some example prompts that I'd like for you to pause the video, go out to ChatGPT or Google Gemini, copy and paste these prompts in just to see what the responses are. Because sometimes AI can be wrong. Sometimes it can give the wrong answer. Sometimes it doesn't give a good answer or an answer that you would want. And so what I would like for you to do is to play around with it, right? That's the only way you're going to learn how to interact with it, is to play around with it. And so copy some of these into one of the tools and just see what the responses are. And I like to communicate with AI as if it's a person. So if I ask it a question and it gives me an answer and I want to tweak that, I just talk to it like I would talk to a person. For example, okay, what if I change this to this, or if I make it look like this, what would that be? And then it will continue to provide responses for you. So play around with it a little bit. To see the different responses you might receive. Also, comparing ChatGPT with Google Gemini. I find that you will begin to lean into one AI over the other, right? And so play around with those and just look at the responses that you get and let it open your mind to the possibilities. This is another prompt, and so you can see this one's a little more detailed. The more detailed the prompt you give, the better the responses you will receive. So this one is more detailed, and play around with this one as well. So you can just copy and paste this in, but it helps you to get a feel for how to interact with the AI to get the responses that you want or you need. This is just a great infographic that I found for beginners if you're not sure what can I do with AI. So this just gives you some ideas of some things that you could enter into ChatGPT to try to help you with, right? And like I said, the best way to learn is to just go out there and play around with it. Ask it to give you a writing prompt, or ask it to generate some questions for you for a test. And just remember that the more details you give it, the better the response is. So for example, if you're wanting to have it create a quiz for you, give it the standard, give it some context of what the students have learned. Whatever you can give it, it can give you back even better. So play around with it. Don't be afraid to play around with all of these tools. So adapting the output, this is really important. AI can be a helpful assistant, like I said, but it's not always accurate or complete. We need to fact check everything it produces to catch mistakes or misinformation. For example, one time I was playing around with it, asking it to create a math quiz, and I wasn't actually using it. I was just playing with it to kind of see what the responses would be. And some of the math was wrong. So it's not perfect. It is absolutely not perfect. Again, to me, it's a time saver. It's an assistant in the classroom. It's an aid. It's just there to help you. So you always have to check the information because everything it produces is not perfect, right? There can be mistakes, there can be misinformation. So you can't just copy and paste the information whenever you get whatever it is you're looking for. And finally, organize the content the way you want it presented. You're the designer of the learning experience. AI is just the starting point. So this is another opportunity to play around with the AI to see how you can alter the information to better fit your needs. So again, this one's fun. So enter the story prompt into either one, ChatGPT or Google Gemini or both. Read the responses, decide how you want the story to continue, then add more parameters to see, like I said, kind of have a conversation with it to see how it works and how you can then tweak it to work for you. And so this was the prompt that I gave, and you don't have to use this one. It's just, it's here, something to help get you started. So a young astronaut discovers a new planet. And then I wrote in a few possible parameters here to ask it to write the story on a lower level or a higher level. Tell it to rewrite it based on a different angle that you decide on. Tell it to rewrite it shorter or longer. You could even say for second grade, for 10th grade, for English language learners, you can be very specific with it. And then ask yourself these questions. How did it understand and respond? What role did you play? What potential applications do you see in real world scenarios? What differences did you notice between the two applications? And now are you leaning into one over the other? So pause the video, take some time, and play around with those tools today to get a feel for what they can and cannot do. This is Khanmigo. So this is the tutor, the AI tutor in Khan Academy. I'm not sure if you've seen this yet, but it is amazing. If your school has a subscription to Khan Academy, I'm sure you've seen this. If you haven't, you need to go out there and take a look and really get a feel for what Khanmigo can do, because again, it is like having a tutor in the classroom. This is a video about it, and it's a little bit longer. This is Sal Khan, who is Khan Academy, but he's talking about how they have created it and how important it is and how effective it can be. So take a minute to watch this video. Like I said, it's 15 and a half minutes, but totally worth it because it's amazing what it can and cannot do. The next one is Magic School. I know a lot of schools have been using this one, Magic School AI. Again, this is another one that you can just play around with. It's free. And I like to look at it from both sides. I like to look at it as the educator, but also as the student, because I like to see what they can and cannot do. And so again, it's free. Browse through. If you haven't seen this one, you have to go check it out because there are so many resources out there. So make sure you go look at this one. This one is also really good, Diffit. I've heard a few teachers have heard of this one and are using this one, but this one is very effective for differentiated learning materials. So its primary purpose is to adapt any text, article, or video content to different reading levels. So that's really important and so helpful because I can remember trying to do that on my own as a classroom teacher. And so having that tool to really help at least get started, like that, I may not love it, but at least it's a starting point. Grammarly, which we all know, a really great writing assistant. And what I love about it is it's real time. So you download Grammarly, and as you are typing, it's kind of like in Word, where Word will help you. And so I think that's really important for students because it's real time and it's helping them. And there's so much research in the immediate feedback. And so I think this is really important. And then what I want you to think about is AI is a tool. I know I've said it a lot. It's not a solution. It's not the end all be all. It is a tool. So make sure you're using it appropriately. Use it as a tool to help you save time, provide information, but it's mostly an aid. I love to use it to just to help me get started or to uh, save me some time. Never copy and paste directly. You always have to check it and make sure that it is correct. This is another video getting into gamification. And so gamification is it's coming along. If you're not familiar, gamification means adding game-like elements like points or levels to motivate students. It's not about turning your class into a video game, but about tapping into the same motivations that make games engaging. Again, meeting those students where they are. So I have this one. You're not going to watch the entire 15-minute video. This one will start exactly where I would like for you to start watching it. If you want to watch the whole thing, you can, but I just put it to the point where I felt like it was the most important. All right, so these are interactive learning tools, and I know many of them are familiar to you, but if they're not, I'd love for you to check them out. So interactive tools can increase engagement by letting students respond in real time, collaborate, or create. These tools can make it easy to build interaction into your lessons. Click on each one to watch a short introduction video. The TED Ed link is not a video. This one is actually a TED Ed that I created so you can see what it looks like and how it works, okay? Again, like I said, you may be familiar with some of these, but you may not. And each one of these is linked to a video that talks about the tool. And so if you're not familiar, make sure that you do watch that video so that you become familiar with these because you will be using these in your activities this week. What we've been talking about is making sure that we are student-centered, right? To design with students in mind, offer choices, clear goals, timely feedback. Gamified and AI-driven tools can support these design principles when used intentionally, right? And that's the most important part, that we are intentionally using these. We're not just, oh, let's do a Kahoot right quick. That's not what we're doing. We're intentionally using these tools, right? And that's what I want you to think about this week. And so I'd like to leave you with this quote. Technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers is transformational. Think about all that we've talked about with the new generation of students and how important it is that they understand how to design, create, be in this world. It's really important. So this week in Module 2, you are reading 4 PDFs. So I've got 4 of them, competencies of the future, how to educate the iGen generation. Gamification in education, enhancing student engagement and learning outcomes. Integrating AI in education, opportunities, challenges, and ethical considerations. Very important. And lastly, the promise and challenges of generative AI in education. So if you will read those 4 PDFs this week, again, you have discussion questions and making sure that you are following the rubric and that you are responding to classmates. And your activities this week, you will develop a lesson plan using an AI tool. Your lesson plan should include the following components: grade level and content area, relevant state standard, clear objective, formative assessments, differentiation activities specific to the student needs in your classroom, and closure. Okay, and that's your first activity. The second one, I want you to write a 1-page reflection on the way in which you interacted with the AI. What questions did you ask? How did you change the way you were probing the AI to get the desired results? In what ways did the AI help you to be more efficient or provide ideas? And then third, I want you to redesign a static lesson to incorporate an interactive or gamified experience. Provide both lessons, a copy of the interactive or gamified experience, and a reflection on the improvements made by the experience. So take a lesson you've used in the past that was not interactive at all and make it interactive. And then I want you to reflect on that. And then, as I said last week, you are adding to your Google Site portfolio. So this week, I want you to add your project showcasing the use of emerging technologies, description of how your design supports diverse learners in a specific context, and then what did you learn about designing for innovation and inclusion? Okay. And so work on all of that this week. Again, if you have any questions or need any help, I am always here. So feel free to reach out. Good luck.